and it's 7:11. It's the magic hour. So I'm just going to be keep letting people in as we get started, but I don't want to keep anybody waiting any longer. So first of all, I would like to say a very warm welcome. We have a lot of new faces here tonight, so I'm really thrilled to have you, and you're most welcome. My name is Christine, and my partner is Mel. Do you want to give a little wave there, Mel? 'Cause there's so many boxes happening.
Yeah.
And we have the company Power in Aging, which you are at right now. And we've been doing these guest speaker workshops and events for over 2 years now, about 2.5 years monthly, bringing wonderful value into the community, lovely, amazing women with so much knowledge and wisdom to share with us. And we've been very blessed to have such wonderful speakers, and tonight is no exception. I'm going to talk about Lynn in just a minute. But for those who are not familiar with Power and Aging, we are a group coaching program, and we started off just with our group coaching as well as our guest speaker series, and we've kind of evolved. And in this May of this year, we actually opened our online membership program, which we are absolutely thrilled to invite new members 3 times a year. So May, September, and there's another entry point coming up in January. We work with a beautiful community of women going through the challenging process of aging, as we have come ourselves into middle age in the 50s, and we have members in our 40s who are going through their challenges, 60s, beyond. Age is just a number, and we are very pro-aging. We treat each day that we wake up as a beautiful gift, and what can we do? Let's get out there and tackle the world. There's not anything that really we want to limit ourselves to. And we have our program, the way it works is it's an online membership program. So every month you get a brand new theme, again, to do with some of the challenges of aging. So we have everything from, limiting beliefs and physical body aging, body image. We have hormonal units. We have confidence, self-motivating stuff, forgiveness, all these different areas that as we age, it tends to change, right? And how do we navigate that? And there's no better way to navigate than with a beautiful, supportive community of women uplifting you, inspiring you, and being with you throughout it. So it is a self-paced online program, but we also meet together once a month for group coaching, twice a month in your own little private groupette power pods that we have for continued support and inspiration. And we also offer a few bonuses like 2 power hours a month, a power list, and lots of coaching questions that you can navigate. So it's a full program for a year, and we are introducing it again in January. Like I said, we do a few webinars that kind of explain a little bit more about the program that are coming up next week, Thursday, November the 30th at 8 p.m. Eastern time. And then December 10th, we have one on a Sunday, actually, at noon Eastern time. A little early in BC, but for you early risers, and that allows us to reach some of our friends in Europe as well at that time zone. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put our link into the chat, and please feel free to click it. That is a link that pretty much takes you everywhere that takes you to our website. It takes you to sign up for our free webinars. It takes you to our mailing list, our social media followings, anything else that you want to, we would love to have you as a part of our community. So we are going to put that in the link or in the chat for you. All right, so that is my little bit of news I had to cover. For the presentation, what I will do is I will mute everybody. And you know what, Lynn, just to let you know, I'm going to hit mute. That's going to mute you as well. So please make sure you unmute yourself.
Okay.
Yeah, and then actually I'll do it now just to make sure that we have it. Okay, so it gives you time to, let me see, everyone's muted. If you want to leave your cameras on, we love to see your face. If you're going to be moving around or driving, then please do, put your camera off for safety's sake. This is going to be recorded, but it's for private use only. So for any of our members, we have a special members library that is also a perk to our membership to go back and watch any of these wonderful presentations. So this leads me to the part I'm very excited for. We have a guest here as well, Anita, who is our lovely friend. Mel and I both have a friend, Anita, who is in Pitt Meadows, and she introduced me to Lynn. And, from the moment she told me about Lynn, she's like, I think you're going to really click with her. I was like, okay, I'd love to meet with her. We had a Zoom, and what would have been a normal, like half an hour introductory Zoom, I think Lynn and I were on for a couple of hours and we had to pull ourselves away. She's just this magnetic, amazing person that I feel like I've known for a lifetime. And I have to say, her energy is just absolutely contagious. It's infectious. I hope that you will enjoy everything she's going to say as much as I have enjoyed listening to her words of wisdom. So, without further ado, I'd love to introduce our NLP master trainer, Lynn Robinson.
Thank you very much. So now I think I'll see if I can do what we practiced in terms of sharing the screen.
Sure, no problem.
And I don't seem to have, do you mind doing the share screen again? Oh, here we go.
And you look absolutely radiant in yellow.
Oh,
I
thank
love
you.
it.
Okay, there we go. Good. Can you see?
Yes, we can see perfectly.
All right. So, so Christine asked if I could say a few words about myself. I really prefer to talk about everything else, not me. So I don't know how much I really need to share, but I am, as Christine mentioned, a master trainer of neuro-linguistic programming. I really love sharing information on how the mind works and how amazing we are and how we can make changes easier than what we imagine. And I've been doing it for 30 years and still I get so excited being able to share. So hopefully I'll be able to share something that will be meaningful to each of you in some way. So, okay, Christine, is that enough talk about me?
I'm sure that they'll pick up on your energy from as we go. And I did forget to mention as well, we'll do a Q&A at the end. So if you have questions, please save them to the end, but you can throw them in the chat. If you're worried about forgetting them, we'll make sure that we monitor that. So thank you.
All righty. So this presentation, as you know, is called Path to a Purposeful Life. And I did give a handout so that you can kind of follow along, because I'll be covering each one of these areas as we go through this. But I wanted to introduce it as a whole in the beginning, because in terms of change, this really is a model for learning and change. And there's a hierarchy for us when we're wanting to learn something, when we're wanting to change. And the challenge that we generally have, so if you were to draw a line below the word beliefs, basically everything above number 1 to 4, they're all internal processes. And then everything below is how we express those internal processes as we're moving through life, as we're making changes, as we're wanting to achieve things, and so on. So there's definitely a hierarchy, and it is really important that we recognize them and know what role each of these plays, because generally speaking, when people change, when they want to change or have something happen that throws them into some direction that they had no intention of going in, most of the time we want to change something we're doing that we don't want to do, or we want to change something we're not doing and start doing something, which is way down here at the level of behaviors. And what happens is when we just look at what can we do, then it limits us, because that's when we have to work so hard to get it done, because we're missing all the motivation strategies and the ways to make it easy. So rather than start looking at when a change happens, rather than looking at what can I do, what do I need to do differently, and we're always told about strategies and make a plan and set a goal and do all these things. But if we don't do it in a specific sequence, then it's either going to be that you won't achieve what you want, or it will really be hard work achieving it. So So this path to a purposeful life, actually, my daughter and I, who we work together now, and we worked together a while ago, had a company called Life Without Regrets. And that's when we created this. And so if we look at purpose as an example, purpose is purpose and your vision. That's where inspiration comes in. So it's really important. And I'll go into detail, by the way. I just wanted to give you an overview. But it's really important that you know what your purpose is in whatever it is you want to achieve, and that you have a clear vision, because that's where the inspiration comes in. And if you're not inspired to do something, you're just going to work hard and probably not get it done. Identity, that's the next level. So the next level being identity, it's who are you at the core? So when we talk about identity, there's a big difference between the roles you play and who you are at the core, your core essence, which includes the qualities and characteristics that you inherently have within you. So that's really the focus in terms of identity. So who are you? The next level is values. And so everyone generally knows that values are really important. But values also have a hierarchy, and we have different values for different contexts. And the important thing about values is that our values are what motivate us. So purpose inspires us, and values motivate us. And they also are what we use to evaluate how we're doing. Are we doing what we want to do? Do we feel good about what we're achieving or not? So that's the role that our values play. And then our beliefs are also a filter that all of these are very unconscious, by the way. So even though people can usually rhyme off their values, when we end up doing a process with clients, generally speaking, they're surprised at what ends up being what's truly their values. And sometimes the ones that are most important are buried the deepest. So our values and our beliefs, our identity and purpose, these are filters that are very unconscious. So once we become aware of these things, it gives us a huge advantage in terms of being able to make the changes we want to make in our life and to be able to achieve what it is that we want to achieve in our life. So those are all the internal filters. And then the next piece is our skills and capabilities. So it's really, well, I'll share more, as I say, when I come to that section, but what are the skills and capabilities that you need in order to be able to fulfill your purpose? And then behaviors are, what are we going to do? So what do you need to do in order to be able to also fulfill your purpose? So we're always moving it back to purpose rather than isolating and just looking at each of these categories, but it's always linear in terms of what are the behaviors that you need to, where do you need to interact? Who do you need to interact with? What actions do you need to take? What do you need to do in order to utilize your capabilities and to be able to have beliefs that support you? What are the beliefs you need and the values you need and who you need to be at the core for you to fulfill your purpose? So it's always with the intention of aligning everything so that you can fulfill your purpose. And then the environment, which is really important. And I'm sure you're all really aware in terms of, who's in our environment. Where do we spend our time? Do we spend our time with people who uplift us? Or do we spend our time with people that kind of, well, no one can really hold us back, but that we can feel that we're being held back through their energy. So that's basically what I'm going to be sharing with you in this presentation. And I really am, if you're comfortable, Christine, I am comfortable if there's questions that people really need answered before I finish and so on. So I'm fine with that.
Sure.
So the first piece being purpose. So I was thinking about this with all of you, and we look at this in it can be looked at in a different way. So sometimes I'll work with people that they want to make changes in their business. So it's what's the purpose for their career? or it can be family. What's your purpose in what you want to achieve with your family? What's your purpose just in life in general? But it's important also to know that sometimes people get overwhelmed because they feel that their purpose has to be something grandiose, and it doesn't. It's really just what's in your heart that you really want to achieve or do. And it's not a goal, because goals are very precise and you'll have many, many goals that allow you to fulfill your purpose. But this is a very high level of what it is that you want. So you may want to, your purpose might be to live a fulfilling life, or it may be to, so for my business as an example, my purpose is really to help raise the consciousness on the planet and to have people be conscious moment by moment, every word they speak, every action they take, so that they're kind and loving and respectful to each other. So that's my business purpose. But my personal purpose is to be the best human being that I can be and live a fulfilled life. So it's not that we have one and that it has to encompass everything. And we're not all going to be Mother Teresa or Gandhi. It's just what inspires you? What does your heart just want so much for you to have in your life? What kind of experiences do you want to have? When you move it from goals to experiences, it changes the feeling completely. So what do you want to experience in your life? What's the purpose for your life? So you may want to look at your life overall as to what your purpose might be, or you might be making a change in your career. So it doesn't matter, but it's important that you recognize you can have different purposes. There's my cat. That you can have different purposes in different areas of your life. So the important piece to remember is that your purpose, it makes it so compelling and it pulls you forward, and it allows you to overcome obstacles that you would have never been able to overcome if you didn't really connect to your purpose, because it is such a high level. And along with your purpose is your vision. So they kind of go side by side. And your vision, it's really important. I'm going to move this over a bit, or maybe I can't move it over. I don't know if some of it's cut off. I guess it doesn't really matter, but your vision represents how the world will be different if you achieve your purpose. So your vision is about beyond self. So it's not about you like a goal. It's, if I were to achieve my purpose, what would the world be like? Who else would benefit? How would this make a difference beyond self? And that can be whether it's your vision for your business, whether it's your vision for your family, no matter what it is, but it's always beyond self. So the key to making your vision a reality is the strength of your emotional connection to that vision. So it's really important that it's so compelling that you just get so excited. You can just feel that feeling inside when you think of it. If it's not compelling, then it's just a made up picture that maybe you think matches whatever it is you want to do. Your vision has to just be so compelling that every time you think of it, you can hardly stand it because you just can't wait till it's done, right? And so one of the things, and Christine asked if I would share this with you. So some of you know this as well. In 2006, I was diagnosed with cancer. And so I had surgery, had the lump removed, but then the doctor said to me they didn't get it. And they needed me to go back in the hospital. They needed me to have more surgery. They wanted me to have radiation and chemotherapy and all those things. And I just decided that I wanted to heal my body myself. It felt really important based on the work that I do. So it was kind of like this message that I feel I received that said, look, you say you believe in all this stuff. Let's see if you really believe in it. Here's your chance. And I kind of felt that if I didn't do it, I really wouldn't be able to stand in front of people and share this information congruently if I didn't utilize it with something that was super important for me. So at the time, my granddaughter was 3 years old. And so my vision, my compelling vision was, and I can still see it to this day, we were sitting on a lanai, and I'm going to say it's probably Hawaii, sitting on a lanai, and all my family was around, son, daughter, in-laws, the whole family was around, and I was holding my great grandchild. So that was my vision. So that presupposes that I'm going to live. If she's only 3 and I'm holding my great grandchild, that to me was a convincer that, you know, I got lots of years left to go. So that vision, I saw it every morning through the day, every night. The last thing I did was look at that vision. But again, it was truly something that I wanted to be able to experience in my life. So I think it's important to really know that visualization has been proven scientifically, neurologically, the power in visualization. But one piece that people sometimes don't recognize is the power is with the emotional attachment to whatever the vision is. And, you know, it's just like, I mean, if you go, lots of people think they have to experience something before they can feel that. But think about it. If somebody just handed you a ticket to Hawaii that you're flying out tomorrow, I doubt that it would take you till you landed for you to be excited and feel it in your body about going to Hawaii. So it's the same thing with our vision in terms of our life. So that's the first piece, is what's your purpose and what's your vision. The next piece is your identity. So who are you? It's really important that you're really clear about who you are. So what are the qualities and characteristics that you have within you that you embody, and how you want to live your life? And maybe there's some qualities that you haven't yet developed, but are really important for you to fulfill your purpose. So we're always going to link it to your purpose. So who am I? Who do I need to be? What are the qualities and characteristics that I have within me, or that I need, that will allow me to fulfill my purpose? And when we know truly who we are, then we can take that and we can take it in whatever role we play. It goes everywhere with us. It allows us to make decisions and be solid in our decisions, because we know somebody else might not agree with us, but when we know at that soul level who we are at the core, then we can stand strong in whatever changes we have to make, and whatever changes are coming to us that were unexpected. And we don't have to be swayed by everything around us. We can stand strong. So who we are at the core, what are those qualities that you have that really would help you fulfill your purpose? And the thing about it too, is it really does help you in terms of your behavior. So the way you want to be in the world. So if I say that I'm a kind, loving person, then when I'm not happy about something, it helps me to kind of challenge myself to ask the question, well, if I'm a kind, loving person, how would I behave in this situation? So it helps you really be true to yourself. And another piece that's linked to that is being at cause. So when we talk about being at cause, it's not a blame. It's meaning that if I believe that I brought myself to this situation, if I can be at cause and believe I made choices to be in this situation, that means I can make choices to get myself out of it. So it's a place of strength. When we're at effect, then that means that being at effect, if I could just explain it for a moment, being at effect is when I'm pointing to something or someone outside of me for a problem that I have. So as long as I'm pointing outside of me and I believe that somebody or something is the cause of me feeling the way I feel or having the experience I had, then that means I'm helpless, because I'm going to look to them to solve it. If I'm a victim of circumstance, I'm not going to look for how I can solve that problem. I'm going to keep expecting somebody outside of me to find the answer and to save me. So being at cause is really a very powerful place. Means I'm willing to recognize and honor that I made choices to get myself here. And the good news is, if I made choices to get myself here, I can make choices to get myself out of here. I hope this is all making sense. I really love being able to see everybody or have people chat back and so on. So I'll just assume that everything's a-okay. So the next piece is values. And so our values are, as I mentioned, they're what motivate us, and they're what we use to evaluate how good we're doing. So we all have different things that we value, and then we have different values within the things we value as well. So, for some of us, relationship is really important. It's a high value. And then within relationship, we will have values as well as to what we believe a relationship needs to be like. For some of us, we might value travel or our home or peace or a boat or a family. So it's all different for each one of us. But within those categories, we will also have a set of values as well. Our values answer the question, what's important to you about? So what's important to you about your purpose? What's important to you about your life? What's important to you about your relationship? Whatever that purpose is, whatever category it's in, what's important to you about that? And so, again, when we work with our clients, we end up listing at least 10 values, and something that you may or may not have known, but our values also are in a hierarchy. So there's going to be values that are more important, some of our values that are more important than other values. And generally speaking, for us to be happy, our first 5 values in every category needs to be actualized. And if not, then we'll just feel like something isn't right. And generally speaking, also, when we can't put our finger on something and we can't logically say why it doesn't feel right, very often it's because our values aren't being satisfied. But the thing is, they're so unconscious. They're one of the most unconscious filters we have. So if we don't consciously bring our values to the surface, then again, it can stop us from really living the life we want, stop us from living our best life, and for stopping us for achieving our purpose and our vision. So it's a really important piece. And I think it's important to know too, it's not a matter of just quickly writing these things down. It's a matter of taking a bit of time to make sure that it really is important, and even putting them in order. Like, what's the most important one to you? When you order them, it really does make a difference, because then again, as long as your top values are being actualized, or you're experiencing them in whatever it is you're doing, then that's going to be great. But if they're not being actualized in your life, you'll feel something isn't quite right. So that's your values. And something else that's really important to know about values is that we have different motivation strategies with our values. And some people are motivated, you might hear it referred to as the carrot and the stick. We talk about it from the perspective of towards and away from. And so when you're motivated towards what it is that you want, then it's a very positive experience. It's a forward movement. It's a continuous movement forward, because people who are towards motivated are goal-oriented, they're achievement-driven within themselves. They take action when they have choice. Whereas away from motivated people, they function on fear or anxiety. So in other words, they'll wait to the last minute before they take action, because they don't move until they're afraid of what will happen if they don't take action. So they're not looking at what's the benefit of taking action. They're looking at what's the bad thing that can happen to me if I don't take action. It's very stressful being away from motivated, super stressful. And it's also what we call cyclical. And what we mean by that is that we can use making money as an example. So a salesperson, let's say there's a salesperson who's on commission, and however much they sell is how much money they make. And so they're going along and they're not motivated, they're not making any money. And finally they get to the point where, they're tired of not having any money in their pocket. They're tired of not being able to pay the rent, or worried about paying the rent. And so they decided, okay, it's time to get to work. So then they get to work. And what they do is then they work, and they are motivated until they have the money. And then once they have the money, because they're not motivated to achieve, they're only motivated when they're afraid if they don't have it, then what happens is they go back to their old habits. And then again, they don't have any money. And so then they're afraid of what's going to happen. And all of a sudden they start moving again. And so it's very cyclical. It's up and down all the time. And abusive relationships are the same. When people are in an abusive relationship, you might know somebody. So in an abusive relationship, if somebody's motivated away from, then what happens is the relationship is falling apart, and somebody says to the person, that's it, I've had it, I'm done, I'm out of here. And so then the person who's motivated away from, they're afraid they're going to lose the relationship. So there they go, and they're doing everything that they need to do to have a beautiful relationship. But as soon as they're not afraid anymore of the relationship ending, then what happens is they go back to their old habits. And then again, when they're afraid it's going to end, then they do all the wonderful things, and it just keeps going up and down and up and down. So away from motivation is really triggered by fear and negative emotions. So the only way to get away from this is really to take care of the negative emotions that are causing you to feel this way. So very different in terms of motivation strategies. The next area is beliefs. So, and I think there's a lot of conversation going on about beliefs. A lot of people are talking about beliefs and how they limit you and so on. And I really like this quote, which is from James Allen: "The outer conditions of a person's life will always be found to reflect their inner beliefs." And that was written many, many, many years ago. So You know, a lot of the things too, I think is really, it's wonderful to see how none of this stuff is really new. It's been around for a very, very long time. There are certain truths that are in life, and this is one of them. So our beliefs, they shape our success, they support our values. So every value we have has a little cluster of beliefs attached to it, which is our reason why we value something. They do create our reality. Whatever we believe to be true, we experience. So there's no common experience. It's all what do I believe? Our beliefs influence our approach to other people. If I walk around with a belief that certain people, you know, aren't good, or certain people are going to take advantage of me, or then I'm going to speak to those people. I'm going to interact to those people as if that's true. Whereas someone else, if you believe that people are wonderful, you could meet the same person and you would just think, wow, they were so great, because you'll be filtering, you'll be looking for all the evidence that proves that you're right, that people are really amazing. So it's not about what's going on, it's about what do I believe about what's going on. And they totally support our accomplishments, and they limit our accomplishments. And I wanted to just share a little bit. I'm not, talking a lot about communication and so on, but in terms of our beliefs, a lot of our self-talk, I loved this visual here. It's like, are we saying negative things? Do we view the world, through negative thoughts, or seeing the good? And your self-talk will tell you what your beliefs really are. So sometimes we say all the right things and we're happy, and when we're with people and we say everything that's, sounds good. And then when we're on our own, the things we say to ourselves are nothing like what we say to other people. So if you want to really figure out what your beliefs might be that could be limiting you or that support you, but is to kind of eavesdrop on your self-talk, and just really pay attention. What am I saying to myself? Because here's the thing, and this has been proven scientifically through neuroscience. Basically, whatever you say inside your head, whatever you think inside your head, is an instruction to your body on how to perform and what to do. It's literally an instruction, which is why, again, if you want to change something, changing it at the level of behaviors isn't going to work. You've got to change the way you think if you want to change the results you're getting. And if we're talking about change as well, sometimes it's not easy. We have to really stop and recognize, okay, what is it I need to be thinking and believing in order for me to get myself out of this, or to be able to find a direction that really supports who I am and supports me in achieving my purpose. So it's very conscious. The other way is you can eavesdrop on yourself when you're talking to your best friend, because generally speaking, you're going to tell your best friend all your little secrets of being afraid of this, and you don't think you can do that, and I'll never be able to do this, and so on. But if you can please just really remember that whatever you say inside your head or think is literally an instruction for your body to behave and act in a certain way. It doesn't just go out there and do whatever it's going to do. It has to have instructions to know what to do and how to see the world. So those unconscious filters are what we use to determine what the world looks like and what we think of the world and what we think of ourselves, what we think of other people, what we think is possible. Our beliefs are really super, super important. One of the processes when we see private clients that we utilize is a process that literally removes limiting beliefs. First, we have to figure out what they are, then you get to remove them. So again, just, to reiterate, it's, looking at what beliefs support you in achieving what you want and what beliefs limit you in achieving what you want. And you'll be able to identify them as long as you're open to listening to yourself. Then you'll be amazed at what you learn. And then it becomes a choice. So very often when people want to change, awareness is the first thing. We have to be aware of what we want to change. And a lot of people stop at awareness. Once they know why something is going on, they very often will stop. So this is about awareness, noticing, eavesdropping on yourself, and deciding that you want to do it differently, and deciding that you can do it differently. In NLP, we say, if it's possible in the world, then it's possible for me. Right? So the next piece, so all of the ones that I've just shared with you, those are those internal filters. They're how we sort through the experiences that we're having in our life. And so then below that line is skills and capabilities. And I wanted to share them in a different way tonight because I really noticed that with skills and capabilities, generally, it's what do you need to learn in terms of maybe different things for your career or specific strategies. So generally speaking, skills and capabilities are thought more of from a left brain perspective in terms of strategies. And this, I really wanted to share the things that I think sometimes get left by the wayside, because our communication skills are super important. And not a lot of people take the time to really learn how to be a skilled communicator. And that impacts everything in our life. It impacts every relationship we could have and do have. So do you have good communication skills? Are you able to articulate your ideas? Are you able to talk to people in a way that has them feeling good about themselves and feeling empowered? So just consider your communication skills as a life skill that sadly isn't really taught. We're taught to different things in communication, like speak up and say what you need to say, and don't let people tell you this, and kind of in a defensive and not in a loving way that really supports, like I say, helping others feel really good about themselves and building relationships in a way that really nourishes everybody involved. So just to consider, how are your communication skills? Do they get you the results you want or not? The other piece in terms of skills is state control, and I'll talk about that in a moment. But, are you in control of your state? Or do you just fly off the handle? Or, are you emotional when it isn't appropriate? Or can you manage your state in an appropriate way when you're in the presence of other people? And it is a skill. All these things really are skills that most people haven't been taught to the degree that it can truly, truly enhance our life. Meditation skills, people meditate sporadically here and there, but, if you really researched the importance of meditation and taking the time to develop it as a skill, it will enhance your life. These are skills that really will make a difference in how you feel about your life and the results that you get in your life. Visualization, same thing. People sometimes take the time to visualize, but what if visualization was one of the best ways that you have the best skill to allow you to create what you want in your life? Would you be willing to do it then? Would it become something more important if you really knew and believed in your heart that visualizing really does make a difference? And it's something that, of course, high achievers have done for many, many years. And now more and more people are bringing it into their life on a regular basis, because people are so stressed. We've been through a lot. People individually have been through a lot, and also as a collective. We have had so many challenges, and the stress level for people right now is really high. And so we need to do everything we can possibly do to be able to bring that stress level down, because of course that affects our health, it affects our results, it affects our relationship, it affects everything in our life. So I just wanted to mention these few things that you might want to consider if you haven't developed these as skills that you can call on at any time. And of course that takes practice, right? So there has to be a willingness to practice these things. So that was one piece. And then the other was, to have you think of, again, if we go back to your purpose, what are the skills and capabilities that you need to achieve your purpose? Beyond these that I just mentioned, what are some of the things that you might have to learn that you haven't really developed because you haven't needed to up to this point? And then really looking at what are your natural abilities? What do you do really well and naturally that could support you in achieving your purpose? So I always want to take it back to achieving your purpose. Shifting your state. So I mentioned state control as one of the skills. So just if you can just take some time, there's a lot of people now that are doing breathing exercises. It's really wonderful. There's just so many apps even that can walk you through the different forms of breathing. So, that's really available, and you can change your state very, very quickly by just taking a moment, literally a moment. In one of our classes, we have people close their eyes and just be silent and focus on their breathing, just a normal breath for 1 minute. And no one can believe that it was just 1 minute. So if you can just put time aside for breathing, guided visualizations, listening to audios that guide you through to a positive visualization, relaxation techniques, meditation. So all of these things really help you shift your state so that you can be out there being the very, very best human being you can be. And that's for you, not for others. They're going to all benefit. But really, this is for you to feel good inside so that you can enjoy your life. And then comes behavior. So behavior is really all what are you going to do? And do you have the skills to interact? What are your actions that you have to take? What are your interactions with other people? Do you have the skills to be able to communicate with people that are different from you or people that disagree with you? Can you have a great conversation even though they're different? Do you behave in a way that matches, like I said, whatever the qualities and characteristics that you say I am, then in terms of who you are at the core, then you want to really challenge yourself by asking yourself, if I say this is who I am I behaving in a way that's aligned with that? So for me, it just really helps me to stay aligned when I question myself. And by the way, usually if I ever have to ask myself that question, it's usually only because, of course, whatever I was going to do or say would not have been aligned with me. Otherwise, I would have just done it, right? So you want to have a couple of questions for yourself that allow you to stay true to yourself. And then roles of the emotions. Again, if you want to be the very best you can be, represent yourself the very best, then it's really important to take care of whatever emotions are there that are causing you to have experiences that aren't really wonderful experiences. So many people, they end up getting angry and then they have to go and say they're sorry and apologize, which that's nice. An apology is nice, but really, what if we just didn't do it in the first place? So our emotions, I like to look at the emotions as a way of telling me what I need to change, what I need to heal, what I need to take care of, right? They're just an indicator of something that needs healing or changing within myself. And there are ways, of course, of being able to release those negative emotions and completely neutralize them. And then the last one is the environment. So, who do you spend your time with? Does your environment support you? Does your work support you? Does where you do your work support you? Does your home support you? So just really pay attention to your environment. And does it support you in achieving your purpose? So always take it back to that. And so in terms of path to a purposeful life, really it's about aligning your inner and outer world. So the inner world is, like I said, up to beliefs, and then your outer world, make sure that they're aligned. Remove the obstacles that keep you stuck, and then live in the flow or in the present and create your path. And in terms of living in the present, that's again something that all the masters will tell us, that, living in the present, be happy. And that's something I think of the Dalai Lama all the time. Our only purpose is to be happy. Imagine if we could live our life thinking our only purpose was to be happy, and everything we did allowed us to be on that path of being happy. And so I just wanted to thank you for letting me share this information with you. And I think you're all aware that there's a free download, The Secret Garden for Your Health and Well-Being. You're welcome to download that. And with Christine's everything about 11, the 11% discount for any coaching program. So there's a number of coaching programs that I have. If you're interested in finding out more, then just by all means, connect with me, and I'm happy to just answer questions too. If there's anything that you're curious about, I really do welcome questions. So let me know if I can be of service to you in any possible way. So that's me. Thank you. And now I'm going to stop sharing.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lynn. Oh, wow. And I loved your slides too. Beautiful.
Oh, good.
So I would love to open up the room to a Q&A. If anybody has some questions, if you've been taking notes or had anything that's coming up for you, I will open the room. You can either, do the raise your hand thing. You can just unmute yourself. We've had people writing it in the chat in the past, and we can read it aloud for you as well. Oh,
Sorry.
okay, there's
That's
another.
Cats are
other
so
cat.
healing. Cats are so healing.
Yeah.
I know. Anyways, oh well. Uh-oh. Now I lost Mango.
And they also love keyboards. Yes.
Yes, I know. And so now I'm not certain how to get us back here.
We can see you
We can
fine, but
see you.
yeah, we can see you, so that's all
Oh,
fine, but
oh, darn, I can't see anybody. Oh, that's not fair. Okay.
maybe go to Zoom again if that's what you lost.
It's so weird. I've got my PowerPoint up, but I can't get
Unshare maybe?
oh yeah, but I can't find an like nothing's cooperating. What if I do escape? I'll do escape and see what happens. If I lose you, I'll come back.
I was gonna say,
There we
yeah,
go.
we'll do a little song and dance while we're waiting for you to.
Okay, there I have you
Did it
now. Oh,
help?
that's way
Awesome.
better.
Wonderful.
Okay.
Well, thank you so
Wonderful.
much. That was such a great presentation.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're very welcome.
You,
And like I say, if anyone
everything-
has questions.
yeah, you were so
Sorry, what was that?
thorough. Everything was so thorough. I love the way you broke everything down. I do have a couple questions, but I want to open up to the room. So, does anybody have anything that came up for them that they would like to ask Lynn? Well, we have her.
Mhm.
Lynn,
Lynn,
the other Lynn?
Lynn to Lynn.
Lynn to
Lynn
Lynn.
from London. Not a question, but just something that you said really stood out, and I loved it. It was, instead of goals, what do you want to experience in your life? And I've never heard of it put that way, and I thought that was brilliant.
Yeah, very
Yeah,
nice.
thank you. I mean, it really does make a difference. Anita, and I have a course that's called Identity by Design. And it's, and that's where we started really asking people about experience instead of goals. And it was so amazing. People just lit up thinking of it in that way, just so different. So I'm glad that, yeah.
Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you.
I wrote it down too. It just kind of reframes it nicely, doesn't it?
It does.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Well, and our time is somewhat limited on this, at least in this life, or depending on what you believe. But so we have to kind of design it the way we want it, right? The way we
Yeah.
want it to happen.
I feel like there's more of an emotional connection when you word it that way as well, right? The experience and something that you feel that there's like that connection, whereas a goal is, something over there, right? So, yeah.
Quite left brain compared to an emotional connection.
Yeah. Wonderful. Thank you, Lynn from London, for bringing that.
Hi,
Anybody
Lori
else?
and Dagmar as well.
What's that?
I said hi, Lori and Dagmar. They popped on.
Oh, yeah. Hi, guys. Anybody else have a question for Lynn? Joanne?
Not a question, but yeah, just maybe a comment. I was really happy to see the cause and effect slide and explanation. I think I needed that again.
Ah,
So I took master practitioner program from Lynn several years ago, and it changed my life back then. And I am so fortunate that I'm close enough that I can visit with Lynn every once in a while. And it's always such an amazing time I leave elevated all the time. So, but that one I definitely needed, Lynn. So
good.
thank you. Thank you for reminding me of all of those really precious stages. Even my students hear a little bit of NLP and what they say to themselves. I teach communication. So, I talk about, how they word their sentences, how they talk to other people, conflict resolution, but also what they say to themselves. And even when I'm marking, I'm very conscious about doing that sandwich method in feedback. You start out with something positive, then how they can change something to make it more effective, and then another positive situation as well at the end. And the students have commented, no other faculty members really give them that kind of feedback. And I know I'm talking about two subjects, but you know, the cause and effect was for me, but the communication that you mentioned is for everybody. And you know, today I will have to share a funny little story, because when I teach the students, and right now they're all pretty well 18 to 22 years of age, so they're really young, all Gen Z. So I always ask them a question: what method would you use to communicate, you know, being away or asking for a raise? And texting. I'll text when I want a raise. I said, that's not going to get you a raise. So they're so shocked. You know, they've not learned in school anything about, you know, two words does not make a sentence. Well, I can, that's a good sentence. I quit, that's a good sentence, I guess. But but the thing is that, you know, they're all talking in texts or emojis or whatever, and communication, what you say to others and how you say it, and then also what you say to yourself, is such a wonderful reminder to lift yourself up if you need it, and to also embody your beliefs and your values, all those things that are part of you. So Lynn, thank you so much for such good reminders, and for a very succinct presentation too, because you covered a lot of material, and it was excellent. Thank you.
Thank you, and you're welcome.
Thank you, Joanne. Yes. I mean, I know that when you were talking, I was almost visualizing what you were saying, and I was getting excited because, you know, it's such a good reminder that we are so powerful. We really have the, you know, the capability and the power to make these changes in our lives, to do all of these things that you've said, you know, and it's attainable. And you know, a lot of people don't believe that in themselves, and you broke it down in such a beautiful way, step by step, that just, if we just do that work, if we are willing to go there and do that, you know, the self-discovery, the reflection, the, you know, and we can make those changes. So I know it really resonated with me. I was getting the little tinglies, like, "Ooh, okay, that's coming next," you know. So thank you.
Good, you're welcome.
Yeah. Anybody else have any questions or comments or anything they'd like to share with Lynn? I know, I just wanted to bring up a question. I wrote it down because you talked about, and this might, you don't might have to go in too specifically, but you talked about there being a process to removing limiting beliefs. Is that something that you can just give a little, you know, short answer for, or is that a big, long process that you have to start elsewhere?
So I'm not sure. I'll just answer my answer, but I don't think it's going to be very, I'm not sure how useful it will be, but it's so it's a process that we walk you through. Like, it's not something I can just say. It's not, it's one of the few things that I can't just say, this is what you do. It's really the negative emotions, releasing the negative emotions, that what we call the root cause, and the limiting beliefs that a root cause. It is a very specific process that we do. Everything else I can probably say, you could do this or this or this on your own, but it's the one thing that is really a process that you need facilitated.
Okay, so a very special technique that you
Yes.
facilitate to do that. That's wonderful.
Yeah, it really, like when you said too about, you know, how powerful we are and how amazing, like seriously, if we really could ever really get it completely, but you know, with the limiting beliefs and the negative emotions, I mean, literally the process eliminates and neutralizes them completely. Like, people walk in the office, they could be sad or angry, and they literally walk out without it. It's not, you don't work on it, it's gone and done.
Mm.
So I don't know,
Amazing.
you know, what else how to really share it, but yeah, it's
So
just,
is it a practice that has to be in an office, like with you present, or is it a physical thing? Is it a mental and physical? Is
Ye-
it?
yeah. So I've worked with some clients online, and I've worked with clients in my office for sure. Either way.
What a wonderful
Um,
tool.
it really is. I mean, I know Anita knows, Joanne's shaking her head, Jolene, you know, it's really, it's one of those things too, that I teach other practitioners how to do it. And yet there's still something in me that is just in awe, honestly, of how the heck is this possible? You know, how can it happen? Although I can, like I say, I can do it with people, I can teach other practitioners how to do it, but I'm still totally amazed that it can be that effective. It's, yeah, I don't want to sound silly, but honestly, that's how I feel about it.
No,
Yeah,
that's
it's pretty
amazing.
amazing.
That's awesome. Thank you. It intrigued me when you said that, so I thought I would just kind of dive in a little bit more on that.
Yes. Well, and again, sometime, you know, if you want to chat, just call me, and of course I'll,
Yeah,
yeah.
I will. I also wanted to just quickly touch on, so you have generously gifted us a few items. So there's going to be one in the follow-up email tomorrow, thanking everybody for coming, letting you know how you can reach out to Lynn. And she gave us a nice little like a kind of a photo with some tips on it. And then there's the download. So is it just going to your website? Is that the best way for them to go to the Secret
Yes.
Garden?
Yeah, so it's on my website, and then it's under products, and
Okay.
it's near the bottom of the products. It's the only one that's free,
Okay, yeah.
but it's towards the bottom. Secret Garden for your health and well-being. Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful. I wonder if I should try to add that link as well. I have your website link up there, but I can also try to add that if you'd like into the email tomorrow.
Sure. And to make it easy for people.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Anybody else have anything before we wrap up our lovely evening together? And on time, how wonderful. No? Okay, well, Lynn, I have to say, I mean, I think you've done such an amazing job. It was such a beautiful presentation. I'm feeling, oh, we see the hearts going on the screen. I'm feeling the inspiration. I'm feeling the love. Leaving on high vibes, which is always what we intend here. And so, on behalf of Power and Aging, we thank you so much for coming and speaking with our community. And for those who, again, are not familiar with our community, we invite you, please join us again for our wonderful guest speaker series, for our free webinars coming up. You can sign up for our emails and newsletters if you haven't already. I will put that link in one more time into the chat, and please do, yeah, come and join us. We love to expand our community and just help empower women through other amazing women and through a community of support and inspiration. So thank you very much for coming, everybody.
And thank you very much for having me, Christine. I'm really grateful to be able to share, and yeah, hopefully be of service.
You were very much, and yes, getting beautiful comments coming into the
Yeah.
chat as well. Everybody thanking you, and lots of smiles, Lynn. Thank you. And
Thanks so
yeah,
much.
thank you everybody for coming.